I'm Ed Godfrey, Outdoors Editor for the Oklahoman, and I'm here on Lake Eufaula today with crappie guide Todd Huckabee. Just finished a day of crappie fishing with First Lady Kim Henry. And how did the wind affect the fishing today, Todd?
Well, you know, the wind doesn't really affect the fish, it affects us pretty bad. So as far as overall, yeah, it definitely plays a role. You know, we were fishing really tight to cover because these fish with this much current, they've dropped the lake 4 feet in the last week, and there's a lot of current through here, and you have to be fishing right next to the cover. And when the wind's blowing and it's blowing your boat around, you're staying constantly hung up in that stuff because you just really have no feel or no control when it's blowing this hard. And unfortunately, the calm areas that we found weren't holding that many fish. You know, we caught a good mess of fish, but just not what this lake typically produces.
It seems like the wind's been blowing every day this spring. What do you suggest to anglers to try to combat those conditions? What do you suggest they do?
Well, the two things. One is, you know, you're always going to have more success by fishing out of the wind than out in it for crappie, because if the boat's moving up and down and your rods are moving around, your jigs are doing that too, and crappie don't like that. So it's better to fish in a calm area where there aren't as many active fish as opposed to in an area where there's a lot of active fish but it's really windy.
You consider Lake Eufaula the second best crappie lake in the nation?
Yeah, I do. You know, Grenada Lake in Mississippi is the only lake that I would even feel comfortable putting ahead of here, and the only reason why it would be better is because there they catch a lot of 3.5 pound crappie. It's just an unreal fishery as far as size goes, but as far as a place that's easy for people to come and catch keeper-sized fish, there's nothing that compares with this lake. I mean, I don't care what level an angler is at. They can be somebody that's never fished before that went to a store and bought a cheap combo and some jigs, all the way up to your tournament guys. Everybody can catch a mess of crappie here. It's just unreal the amount of crappie that are caught every year, every day on this lake.
Right. And what do you suggest now if people want to come and take a trip to Lake Eufaula now? Where would they catch them and how would they catch them?
For the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of fish being caught around bridges. And I know that sounds really generic, but the reason why is because all of these fish that are up in these little bays and stuff, as soon as they get done spawning, which won't be much longer now, they're going to start heading out. And anytime that you have a lot of current on a lake, those bridges create a bottleneck, and it's really magnified there. And those crappie really relate to those backside points where those eddies are, because it's just a really easy place for them to go and sit and wait for food to be brought to them. And then main lake points, you know, right now, there's still a lot of people that are fishing way too shallow for these fish. We have people that come in shop and say, fished all day today with a jig and a cork and a foot of water and can't catch them. Well, you need to be out in 8 to 10 foot of water. We fish with jigs, and that's what we use, but there's plenty of people catching them on minnows. But the biggest thing I can tell people is, you know, it is spring and they should be up shallow, and you've got that urge to fish for them up shallow, but you're not going to be real successful doing that.
Right, and the water being high and muddy, that kind of made the smallmouth bite slow this year, but you said that doesn't really affect the crappie.
No, crappie really prefer muddy water. 2 years ago when Eufaula was low and clear, our fish were really skinny, and now that it's up and muddy, our fish are finally starting to put on some weight. It's just that these fish in here, when the water's muddy, they eat bigger shad.
Okay, so everybody get out to Lake Eufaula and do some crappie fishing. There's rarely a bad day of crappie fishing on Eufaula.